Imagine this. You wake up in a home full of curated comforts, check a device containing the world's knowledge, and move through a day of seamless convenience. Yet, as you lie in the dark, a silent dread takes hold, a hollow, whispering certainty that none of this truly matters. You are not depressed. You are not failing by any visible measure, but you feel like a ghost in your own life. This is the central paradox of our age. We have conquered material scarcity, unlocked boundless entertainment, and connected globally in an instant, only to be met with a pervasive, quiet sense of meaninglessness. Why does the pinnacle of human progress feel so empty? Why does the freedom to be anything leave us feeling like nothing? We scroll through highlight reels of imagined lives, chasing promotions, likes, and purchases, only to find the achievement tastes like ash. The vacation ends, the new car becomes just a car, and the silence returns, louder than before. You are told to find your passion, to live your truth, but the map for that journey was never provided. You are navigating an existential ocean, with a compass that only points to more consumption, more optimization, more distraction. This isn't a personal failure. It is the echo of a void we've all been taught to fill with the wrong things. But what if this emptiness is not a curse, but a clue? What if the very feeling you're running from is the first crucial step toward a truth so foundational it has been systematically hidden from view? The hollow ache isn't random. It's the logical outcome of a world that exchanged depth for dopamine and substituted transcendent purpose for transactional value. We are suffering from a catastrophic misalignment between our ancient inner wiring and a modern world of artificial abundance. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche foresaw this crisis, declaring, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." Yet our culture obsessively sells us the how, the perfect routines, the right products, while systematically dismantling the communal myths, rituals, and struggles that once forged our why. Psychologist Carl Jung warned that the modern individual, severed from collective symbols and spiritual narratives, is thrown back upon themselves in a state of conscious ignorance. This is the silent crisis. We are cognitively overloaded, yet spiritually starved. Our attention, the very fabric of our consciousness, has been commodified. Every ping, notification, and trending topic is a bid for your finite life energy, pulling you away from the inner stillness where meaning is cultivated. We have outsourced our sense of worth to algorithms and the perceptions of strangers, living in what Jean-Paul Sartre called bad faith, surrendering our terrifying freedom to define ourselves, choosing instead to wear the comfortable mask society provides. We've been handed a user manual for a life of efficiency, but not a sacred text for a life of significance. But this engineered emptiness is not the end of the story. It is the necessary precondition for something far more dangerous and powerful. Because this vacuum doesn't just leave us feeling sad. It actively rewires our perception of reality itself, with consequences so subtle they become the very air we breathe. If this hidden architecture of emptiness resonates with you, subscribe to go deeper. Your thoughts are crucial. Like and comment below to continue this vital conversation. This vacuum doesn't remain empty. It gets filled by silent, corrosive forces that reshape your reality from the inside out. The first is the tyranny of optionality. Neurologically, faced with infinite choices but no compelling why, our brain defaults to the easiest metric: comparison. You don't measure your life against your own depth, but against the curated surface of others. This triggers a relentless, low-grade anxiety, a feeling philosopher Søren Kierkegaard called the dizziness of freedom. You are free to choose anything, yet this very freedom paralyzes you, making every path seem both possible and pointless. Second, in the absence of a shared, meaningful narrative, your mind latches on to manufactured crises and trivial pursuits, mistaking urgency for importance. Your nervous system, evolutionarily primed for survival, is now hijacked by political outrage, work drama, and the pursuit of digital validation. These become surrogate struggles, giving you the biochemical hit of purpose, cortisol, adrenaline, dopamine, without any of the substantive fulfillment. You are running on a treadmill of existential panic, solving puzzles that don't matter to win prizes that don't last, all while a quiet voice asks, "Is this all there is?" This conditioning is so complete, it feels like reality. You become a reactive agent in a script you didn't write, chasing relief instead of resonance. But this is the trap's most elegant feature. It makes you believe the cage is the world. However, this painful friction, this constant background hum of unease, is not a sign you are broken. It is a sign you are alive. It is the friction of your authentic self, rubbing against the walls of a borrowed life. And that friction contains the very spark needed to burn the entire false structure down. So how do you shatter the glass? The rebellion does not begin with adding more, but with a ruthless and radical subtraction. It starts when you cease asking, "What do I want from life?" and begin asking the terrifying, liberating question Viktor Frankl posed, "What does life want from me?" This flips the script from consumption to contribution, from finding your passion to being possessed by a purpose larger than your feelings. The rebels throughout history, from artists who worked in obscurity to dissidents who stood alone, shared one trait. They stopped listening to the crowded marketplace of opinions and started listening to the silent, undeniable command within their own conscience. This means embracing what philosopher Albert Camus called the absurd, the confrontation between our human need for meaning and the universe's silent indifference, and choosing to revolt anyway. You revolt by building meaning through responsibility, to a relationship, to a craft pursued with excellence for its own sake, to a patch of earth, an idea, or a community. You reclaim your attention, the seed of all meaning, by letting your devices go bored and letting your own mind go deeply, uncomfortably curious. You substitute the chase for happiness with the pursuit of what Jung termed individuation, the sacred duty to become, courageously and imperfectly, who you truly are. This is how you forge a soul that cannot be commodified. But this rebellion leads to one final, staggering threshold. Because once you start building this authentic structure of meaning, you encounter the ultimate source of power, the very engine of reality that the world of distraction desperately tries to keep you from seeing. Here is the ultimate truth, the final, staggering revelation. The meaningless void you feared was never your enemy. It was the necessary clearing. It was the silent, fertile ground in which your authentic purpose could take root. The modern world, with its endless noise and shallow pursuits, did not create your emptiness. It revealed it. It stripped away the false shelters, so you could no longer ignore the fundamental human condition. That meaning is not found. It is forged. It is a verb, not a noun. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer suggested that life swings like a pendulum between pain and boredom. But the breakthrough lies in realizing that the pendulum itself is your consciousness, and you are the one who chooses what it strikes against. The ache for meaning is not a flaw to be medicated or a market to be exploited. It is the compass needle of your soul, trembling toward true north. It points unerringly toward the only thing that can ever fulfill it, your capacity to confront suffering with courage, to create beauty where none is demanded, and to choose love in the face of indifference. This is the paradigm shift. You are not a passive consumer in a universe of dead matter. You are an active participant in a universe awakening to itself. Your hunger is the proof. So when the quiet dread returns, do not flee into another distraction. Listen. It is not the sound of your life falling apart. It is the sound of the scaffolding you no longer need, collapsing. And in that silence, you will finally hear the question your existence has been asking you all along. Now, what will you answer? If this final truth has shifted something within you, subscribe to reclaim your reality. Let this message echo, hit like, drop a comment, and let's build a community of the awake.